Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alista Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 42. So this tale begins where we left off last week, where our beloved Choco Man, our beloved Hanto, has been shot by the mind control gun, and he is going after his boyfriend, the king of sweets and diabetes, Shoma, and the you suck man, Rikita. And Nyelv and the zombie made their escape, and we left off where Choco Man was about to use his ice punch, what it looked like to be aiming towards Shoma. Now, the episode starts with Rikita shielding Shoma from the ice punch. And, Shoma and Rikita are trying their best to stop Hanto from attacking them, without seriously hurting him. But he makes things so difficult to the point where Rikita had to take him down. He demorphs, but even still, he gets up and tries to attack both of them. And it ends in a funny way where Shoma in his Gavv form, right, just lifts Hanto up by the coat and just like being like a father towards his kid, like naughty, you need to stop. And Hanto is still like trying to fight, be like, Hanase, let me go. I'm gonna get you. It's so funny. Oh man, Hanto and his very funny situations here, because the first time you see Hanto, he wasn't possessed, right? Or mind controlled, right? But remember, Hanto was about to leave the office. Rikita was about to get in. And Rikita was so annoyed by Hanto, he just lifts him up by the pants and just throws him like garbage. And now in this case, you have Shoma just lifting him up like a kid, and just like, damn. Damn. So that's how the scene ends. Then we go to Zombie Nick and Nyelv, who has escaped. And Nyelv is very happy with the results, and now he decides to turn it up a notch. So a new experiment is about to begin. And then we get to the next scene after the opening credits with Dr. Nick's old house. And you see Hanto still under the mind control. He's on a chair all tied up. And he is still kicking and screaming that, Shoma and Rikita are his enemies. I need to destroy you. He acts like a rabid dog. And so Rikita, throws water at Hanto. And we had this, moment of silence. The two boys are just standing there, and Hanto was like, got thrown water and his head was down as if the water just knocked him out, assuming maybe, just maybe, that the spell wore off. But then when Hanto came to, he got even more angry and decided, well, you're going to pay for throwing me water. Yeah, that was so funny. And so Rikita, in his own words, had no choice and said to Shoma, I never would have thought that I was going to do this again after, working with the Stomach family. So he reverts into his old Ganyu form, which, by the way, we have not seen since in the middle of the season. And, ever since he joined with Shoma, we haven't even seen him in his Ganyu form since until now. And he used his toxic onto Hanto, which causes him to go all days. And Rikita tells Shoma that the effects will wear off it's not temporary, but at least it calms him down. So he's no longer a rabid dog. So we go to the Happy Parade offices. Sashika gets the news of what happened to Hanto, and Shoma figured out that if the gun that Zombie Nick is using is the cause, then we should destroy it. And maybe, just maybe, the effects of the hypnosis will wear off once it's destroyed. Because right now that's all they have. So they figured, okay, let us go find Zombie Nick and hopefully find him quickly before he attacks more people. While Sashika goes online to see if there's any postings about people spotting this black hooded man, aka Zombie Nick. And speaking of Zombie Nick, he's on the move. He's shooting people left and right as he goes around the streets of Tokyo. And he ends up shooting the Candyman and tells him, like he did to everybody else, to go to Kazami Beach. But there was a couple of words muted after telling the people he shot, go to Kazami Beach. And there's like muted. And it doesn't take a brain genius to figure out that it will cause negative effects if no one stops the people going to the beach. I will say no more until we hit to the scene. So we get to Sashika, and she gets a phone call from a client named Yoshida, and she's asking her if she could take her daughter to her karate lessons. Why? Because she's at work, and also she's very worried of what's going on. So she figured, have Sashika just take her to karate to keep her safe. And of course, Sashika happily agrees and takes the job. We go to the next scene with Rakira. He notices a bunch of people being zombies, and he is following the zombies to the beach. And then we hit Shoma, where he finds the Candyman, and he was trying to talk to him, but Candyman was not talking except that he is going to the beach. And then later he sees more people going to his direction and realizes, oh great, Zombie Nick shot them with the hypnosis thing. I have to follow him then to God knows where. So all of our heroes so far are following the zombies. And then we get to our third hero, Sashika. She takes the daughter to her karate lessons, and then she sees her shared of possessed zombies heading towards the beach. But this time she sees the black hooded man, and she figured, okay, this could be Zombie Nick. So the plan was to approach Zombie Nick, take a picture of him, and send it to Shoma. That's what she was trying to do. But unfortunately, she got caught. But not by Zombie Nick. It was Hobo Lango. And Lango was like, what are you getting all about? What is this? And Sashika's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry. I thought you were somebody else. I should go. And she leaves. However, as she leaves, she realizes, wait a minute, where have I seen this man before? I feel like I've seen him somewhere, but I just can't put my finger on it. And of course, yeah, she has. Remember, Lango and Sashika met as they were walking, opposite side. And Sashika had this ominous feeling towards this man as Lango passed her by. And this time it happened the same thing. Only difference is she never felt that ominous feeling that she had before. She just like, wait a minute, I've seen that face before, but I don't remember where. And so speaking of Lango, Lango sees the zombies walking, and he immediately said, "Yeah, this could be this could be Nyelv's doing, or it could be the president's doing. Either way, he knows that there's a strong possibility that the president is taking things to a whole new level. In this case, world domination." He doesn't complete the sentence, but he knows like where it leads to, right? Speaking of the mind-controlled zombies, we go back to Dr. Nick's old home, and Hanto is still tied up in the chair, and he comes to, and he's just like, "I need to destroy Rakita and Shoma." And you see all these poor cachizos are like, no, snap out of it. No, you don't know what you're saying. Come back to us. No. They're your friends. And Hanto's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then we go to this scene with Hanto fighting with his dark side and his light side. So his light side and dark side, while, our old Hanto is in the middle. And you see Dark Hanto, or what could have been Bully Hanto, telling himself that you should go out and use your power to kill your friends. And then you have Goody Hanto telling Hanto in the chair that no, you shouldn't do that. You need to use your power to save your friends. And you see both halves arguing to each other while our Hanto is reminiscing the days that led him to this point. Meeting Shoma, meeting Dr. Nick, meeting Rakita, meeting the Stomach family, becoming a Kamen Rider. We are seeing everything, and this is where Hanto was like, "I need to do something." And we don't know what it is. We see him trying to fight the negative effects of the hypnosis, but we don't know for sure if he actually succeeded. So the Cachizos were all on edge, like, what did you just say? What do you mean? Like, oh, what are you going to do, Hanto? So we have this eerie feeling, like, we don't, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Hanto? So as Hanto was stuck in a chair, arguing with his dark half and his light half, we go to Nyelv. Nyelv is on the beach, and he sees a mob full of zombies heading towards the watery grave. So we now know what Zombie Nick told the people he shot at to do. Go to the beach and drown. And then we get to see Shoma and Rakita meeting up, and they look and like, we need to stop this quick before it gets really deadly. So they try to plead with the people to snap out of it and to make them stop, please, but obviously it's not working. Shoma realizes that you cannot stop an army. So this is where Rakita, once again in his Ganyu form, and uses his tentacles to stop the people from going towards the beach. All the while, you see Sashika witnessing the whole thing, and she's in shock into seeing Rakita in his Ganyu form. And so it's going to make things interesting now, because this is her first time seeing him that way, and I wonder how is she going to interact around him now. But knowing our girl Sashika, I'm sure she is willing to accept him if he was just a human or a Ganyu. It's just nothing bad is gonna. They're still gonna be friends. They're gonna be civil. Yeah, everything's gonna be fine there. So Nyelv is once again impressed by his experiment. He is impressed by Rakita and how he uses toxics to stop, the people from, dying because they were walking towards their graves. And he's like, well, I can't believe you're using it to save, these weak species. Well, the experiment is over. I had my fun. I'm leaving. I'm going home. But then Rakita and Shoma's like, you're not going anywhere. So they decide to go after the guy. But then who comes in between? Zombie Nick. Zombie Nick in his in his rider form stops our heroes from going after Nyelv. And then we get to see Shoma once again telling Nyelv that you cannot use human lives as experiments. You are not allowed to use human lives to toy with for your experiments. It's not right. It's inhumane. It's pretty much monstrous of what he is doing. But then again, Dr. Nick was also the same way. He was kidnapping people and using them on, using experiments on them to create the ultimate life form. Yeah, Dr. Nick and Nyelv are two sides of the same coin. And so he tells him that, and then Zombie Nick and Rakita and Shoma fight each other, and then we get to see Nyelv step into the fight, and we see him in his complete Ganyu form with his signature weapon, the bow, and then it turned into a 2-on-2 match. Nyelv and Zombie Nick versus Rakita and Shoma. And through the magic of Kamen Rider, we went from the beach into the forest. And you see our heroes trying to go after Dr. Nick and his gun. But then Nyelv keeps on shooting arrows at our heroes to protect the gun. Come on, he doesn't care about Zombie Nick. And then our beloved Choco man, Hanto, shows up, which leaves everybody at a standstill. Nyelv was happy to see him because he assumes that he's still in the hypnosis. So he's like, oh, perfect timing, so you can help us. So we see Hanto do the thing. He turns into Flappe Valen, and you see him running. Now, everybody is still in a standstill. We don't know who he's going after. Is he going after his friends, or is he going after Nyelv and Dr. Nick? We don't know until he ran past his friends and he turned the running into some kind of spinning headbutt to Nyelv. And Nyelv was in shock, like, wait a minute, what the hell? You somehow, a mere weakling human, like, destroyed the hypnosis? How? And Hanto said, I told you I want to become stronger in my own way. And this causes Shoma and Rakita singing his praises. You hear Shoma be like, oh my God, Hanto, you're so amazing. And of course, Hanto is drinking it in, giving the thumbs up. Of course I am amazing, dude. Of course I am. And Rakita, typical Rakita, just roasting Hanto as usual, right? But Hanto's like, yeah, that's me. And just giving him the thumbs up too. And just drinking it all in, and then tells his friends, everyone, let's go after the gun, destroy it, and save the people and the day. So Shoma and Rakita continue where they left off with Dr. Nick, and Hanto goes after Nyelv. And Nyelv was shouting out orders to Zombie Nick, say, hey, protect the gun at all costs. And he gets he got faced by Hanto. So Hanto gave Nyelv his receipt from last week. However, instead of going to the floor, Nate just, as he was going to the floor, he got one of his arms and stopped himself and decides to shoot, Hanto. So we got to see, so the match turned into a handicap match, 3-on-2, and we see them all fighting. And to make the battle short, Shoma, in his master Gavv form, used his lollipop giant gun and shoots a barrage of lollipops at Zombie Nick, and then reverts into his over Gavv and smash a couple of pieces of his armor, and before he can do anything else, Dr. Nick just hugs the gun and be like, I have to protect the gun, which leads Shoma to be like, wait a minute, Dr. Nick, are you willing to throw your life away for my evil brother? And you would think that Zombie Nick will at least have a reaction of his own thought and be like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I protecting this gun? Why am I protecting Nyelv for? You would think that, but unfortunately, he never regained a sense of self. And then Rakita jumped in and reminds Shoma that that's not Dr. Nick. Dr. Nick is dead. What you're seeing is nothing more than a Frankenstein zombie that has no mind of its own, only to follow Nyelv's orders. That's it. And he kills him right there at the spot. But before Zombie Nick was destroyed, he threw the gun towards Nyelv's way, and it got nudged to some kind of tree. And then Nyelv was about to grab the gun, but then Nikita quickly used his shield and shoot it. He used the shield as an arrow and shoots it at the gun, and the gun gets destroyed. The people are now free from the hypnosis, and pretty much the day is saved. And Hanto and Nyelv continues to fight, and then there's a couple of people venturing into the forest and notice the Kamen Riders and Nyelv, and sees Nyelv, Nyelv sees them and be like, oh, great, now that the gun is destroyed, the hypnosis has worn off, I have to leave. It sucks. But not before he leaves. Bad grammar, I know. He notices the shield and asks Rakita, your new form is impressive. Is the minion, did it came from the Red Gavv? And Rakita responded with, what if it is? And Nyelv was like, oh, I see. So everything goes back to the Red Gavv. And he just makes his getaway. He turns the ground into acid because he doesn't want our heroes to follow him. So he leaves. And then the people who saw the fight be like, wait a minute, those are monsters. Monsters! Remember? Poor Shoma, he got the monster reaction, and now it's the Rakita and Hanto's turn to really feel what Shoma felt in the beginning of the season, where every time he rescues people, they always yell at him, monster, and get away from me, and they run away, And luckily, this time around, Sashika comes in and intervenes and tells the people, and mind you, in that group, that was the Candyman there. And she tells them, no, they're not monsters. These are the Kamen Riders. These are the Ganyu hunters. They've been keeping the peace for God knows how long, and they are protecting us right now from these evil Ganyu. So they're not the monsters. They're cool. Don't worry about it. And the people there were just a little bit shocked, but they calmed down a little bit. Sashika took them to safety, and it leads to the Candyman at his shop. he does a little bit of research about the Kamen Riders and the Ganyuts. And where he read was that the Ganyuts have been around for 20 years. And this causes the Candyman to really start to connect the dots about what happened to his little sister. He grabs the picture, and this is where he is like, is it possible that my little sister has been kidnapped by these monsters 20 years ago? Which leads to the final scene of the episode where Hanto and Shoma were talking. And this is where Hanto decided that it's now the time to tell Shoma what he found. Because after everything that just happened, he realizes that maybe now is the time to tell Shoma the truth. So he apologized at first for meddling. Because remember, Hanto asked Shoma, is it all right for me to find your extended family? And Shoma didn't really said no, but he said, like, I'm not ready for that. Thank you, but I'm not ready. But Hanto figured, let me get the information first. And when Shoma says, it's time, he will give the information. But now things have changed. So Hanto, gives his phone to Shoma and shows him this picture that he took from last week of, the little sister that disappeared 20 years ago, and asked, do you recognize this woman? And then Shoma, in shock, was like, hey, that's my mom. Where do you get this? Which leads him to reveal that I got this picture from the Candyman that you visited many times at his store. I was talking to him, and he mentioned that his little sister was kidnapped 20 years ago. Well, he didn't actually say that the sister was kidnapped, but he said that she went missing for 20 years. And he said that there's a strong possibility that this woman is related to the Candyman, and the Candyman could be your uncle, which causes Shoma to be in shock. Like, is it possible that this Candyman that I always see in his shop could be my uncle? He doesn't say that, but he just had this shocked look on his face, and that's how the episode ends. Now, I'm very happy that Hanto finally tells Shoma the truth. Finally. And now Shoma has to make this decision of how is he going to respond. Because now that Shoma has a brand new uncle, does he have the courage to go to him and say, I'm your nephew? Is it going to happen? Sure, it's going to happen, but not yet. I get the feeling that he is going to do that right in the middle. Because right now, we're in episode 43 now. And we're like, what, 7 episodes to the finale? They are planting the seeds for the end game now. Hobo Lango is still about. We still don't know what his intentions are right now. All we know that he has vowed to his dead sister that the Summit family will rise again. How exactly? I have no idea. But like I said, my theory, it's cool, but is it going to happen? I don't know. But is Lango willing to put his differences aside and ask Shoma to help him take down the president? Now, is Shoma going to trust him? Obviously not. But right now, both him and Lango share a common enemy. So I get this feeling that Shoma and Lango has no choice but to combine forces and take down the president. Now, Is it gonna happen? I want it to happen. It's feeling. I'm getting this feeling it's leading towards that way, but you never know with these writers. And Nyelv is an interesting factor. Is he gonna back the president or is he gonna back his brother? I don't know. He's a traitorous snake because he did join the president because, well, I have no money. He has the money to provide for my experiments. So, yeah, screw family for a moment. We don't know what Nyelv's allegiance lies, so we'll find out in the last couple of episodes. Hanto fighting with his inner self. I thought it was very cool. Unfortunately, we never, that's the last time we ever gonna see bully Hanto. I'm still butthurt about we just barely got, we didn't get like bully Hanto at all, and we just had an upgraded version of Valen that never got utilized properly. But it is what it is there. And Dominic once again, well, Dr. Nick in general is killed off again, and we never got that sense of self that I wanted to see. Just like be like, please help me. Like I wanted Dr. Nick to just be like, have a moment of self and be like, please help me. Please. But we didn't get to see that, unfortunately. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. And next week, the president is coming to visit the Earth, and yep, it's not gonna be fun. And now he's like, you're like, it's he says that I'm your president. I'm the Earth's president now. Like, oh my God, this guy, he needs to die. He really does. So yeah, next week the president is visiting the Earth, and our heroes are in a lot of trouble. We don't know what Lango is going to do in the next episode, if anything. And I think that's it, guys. But before I go, I saw the poster of Kamen Rider Zeztz. You know me, I butcher. But I think Zeztz is the right pronunciation, but I could be wrong. And it looks pretty cool. The helmet looks reminiscent to Riderpiece without the teeth. And it has its own superhero look. And, and also at least the driver is reminiscent to Kuga. And according to the summary, this Kamen Rider is gonna fight nightmares and all that. So it's gonna be very interesting. I saw the trailer for it. It's like a good start. But the thing I'm worried about the most is the head writers, or the main head writer, because there's supposedly the head writer for the next season is going to be the same writer that wrote Gotchard. If that's the case, again, I'm not looking forward to it if it's true. If it comes to pass, guys, write in the comments below. Do you want me to do Zeztz, knowing that the head writer could be the writer that wrote Gotchard? I don't know, man. I'm not looking forward to it. The trailer, the armor, the poster, everything so far looks nice. It looks cool. Like, I'm curious about it. But things can be like poster, the suit, the trailer is one thing. If the execution isn't executed well, everything will turn to caca. I mean, prime example, we had 28 years later with the trailer. Like, you were looking forward to it because how the trailer was shown. It was a very cool trailer. But then when the movie came out, it just fell flat. So hopefully this is not a 28 years later situation when Kamen Rider Zeztz. I hope not, but I just wanted to give you news about the poster, the armor, and the trailer, and so far, so good. So, yeah, when you get the chance, watch the trailer, and it looks pretty nice. And I heard too, from the news that I read, that supposedly Toei is gonna broadcast and stream the show from America, South Korea. There's other countries, Vietnam. There's many others, but the main ones like South Korea, America, and just those main countries. They're gonna broadcast it and they're gonna stream it supposedly. So yeah, that's exciting. We'll see how they're gonna do it. Other than that, thank you so much for listening. Give me your thoughts and opinions about episode 42. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And if you disliked it, what would you change about the episode? What do you think is going to happen between Rakita and Sashika now that she's seen Rakita in his original form? Do you think Lango is gonna ask Shoma for help to defeat the president? Where would Nyelv's allegiance lie? Would he still lie with the president or return back to the family? Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And also, if I miss anything, even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of things here and there. Just write in the comments below. Let us talk. Let us interact. And give me your thoughts and opinions about Kamen Rider Zeztz so far. Do you like the poster, the armor, the trailer? Give me your thoughts and opinions about it. Are you looking forward to it? And that's it, guys. Give a like if you like it once again. Subscribe. And I'll see you all on the other side of oblivion. Johnny.